The last train home. In a small town, nestled between dense woods and rolling hills, the old train station had long been abandoned. It was said that every night at midnight, the last train would arrive, carrying lost souls who never made it home. One night, curious about the legend, a young woman named Sarah decided to investigate. She arrived at the station just as the clock struck 12. The air grew cold, and an eerie silence enveloped her. Suddenly, she heard the distant sound of a train whistle echoing through the dark. As the noise grew louder, Sarah saw the faint glow of lights approaching. A ghostly train appeared, rusty and worn, yet undeniably real. The doors creaked open, and she hesitated, feeling a strange pull to step aboard. Compelled by a mixture of fear and curiosity, she climbed onto the train. Inside, the atmosphere was heavy, filled with the whispers of the past. She glanced around and saw shadowy figures, their faces obscured, but their eyes filled with sorrow. "Where are you going?" she asked, her voice trembling. The figures turned toward her, but they didn't respond. Instead, the train began to move, and Sarah felt a rush of panic. She wanted to leave, but the doors slammed shut. As the train sped through the dark, the whispers grew louder, forming a cacophony of lost stories. Suddenly, the train lurched, and Sarah was thrown against the window. Outside, the landscape morphed into a twisted version of her town, filled with fog and shadows. She could see the silhouettes of people she recognized, friends, family, standing at the station, their faces etched with concern. "Help us!" one of them screamed, but the train raced on, ignoring their pleas. Sarah's heart sank as she realized these were not just lost souls. They were the ones she had lost over the years, drawn to the train as she had been. Just then, the train began to slow, and the lights flickered ominously. In a moment of desperation, Sarah reached for the door, but it wouldn't budge. The whispers intensified, and she felt an overwhelming sense of dread. As the train came to a stop, the doors finally opened. The shadowy figures began to step off, but they turned back to Sarah, their eyes now full of despair. "You don't belong here," one whispered, "but you might never leave." With all her strength, Sarah pushed through the crowd, running towards the light of the station. Just as she reached the threshold, she felt a cold hand grasp her arm. The last thing she saw was the figures reaching out for her as darkness engulfed her. The next morning, the town awoke to the sound of a train whistle echoing in the distance. The station, still abandoned, stood silently as the legend lived on, and somewhere, the last train still roamed, waiting for its next passenger to join the ranks of the lost.